drivers are locked in a great battle for the series title. Leader Ernie Irvan has won 3 events, 4 poles, and only 2 races out of the top 10. He's never been lower than second in points. Dale Earnhardt had a long winless streak. He watched 4 drivers win from July of last year until he re-entered Victory Circle at Darlington this year. His up and down season has provided some unusual circumstances, yet he's only 78 points behind Ernie. Frustrations have been evident in the Valvoline team. Mark Martin has been literally hanging on to 4th in points. The Penske South team of Rusty Wallace has displayed an edge on the track and in the pits. On occasion, they have found themselves behind the wall. Twice they failed to finish. Yet this team has most victories, 5, and Wallace seeks his 4th consecutive today. But in his bid for a 2nd championship, one hurdle looms large. Daytona is next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, welcomes you live to Daytona International Speedway for the Pepsi 400. 4th of July weekend brings mostly cloudy skies to Daytona. The temperature is 85 degrees, and there is a 70% chance of rain, hopefully later this afternoon. We've reached the halfway point of the NASCAR Winston Cup season, and here are the point standings. Ernie Irvan with a 78-point advantage on Dale Earnhardt. Ken Schrader in 5th position is only 6 points out of 4th. The second 5 led by Morgan Shepherd, but Michael Waltrip, who is currently in 8th, has come from a season low of 22nd in the point standings. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Happy 4th of July weekend, and thank you for joining us for our annual breakfast at Daytona and the running of the Pepsi 400. You know, there have been win streaks in the past. Harry Gant had a winning streak a couple of years ago. Mark Martin had one last year. This year, it's Rusty Wallace. He is going for his 4th consecutive win here today. But Daytona has not been a place that has been good to Rusty Wallace. He has never won here. As a matter of fact, his best finish has been a 7th. There are lots of factors when you come to Daytona in July, including the heat. With more on that, here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Bob, and hello, everyone. You know, oppressive heat is the enemy of every race driver. And here at Daytona, shortly after 11 o'clock, let me show you, under the sweltering sun, it is right now 133 degrees, and we have not fired the engines or run a single lap of yet. Now, arguably, no driver adapts better to the hot, slippery race conditions than the man beside me. Last year's winner and today's pole sitter, Dale Earnhardt. But he remembers only twice in the history of this race, some 35 years, has it ever been won from the pole. The last one to do it, Kel Yarborough, way back in 1981. And also some anxious moments this morning. Yesterday, they had an engine come apart in the final practice. Didn't get to run the final practice. They scrambled to put the car together, put the engine in this morning, and they have a lot of questions to be answered here today. For more, let's go upstairs to Ned and Vinny.
Well, Jerry, the heat that you were talking about makes this race in July totally different from the Daytona 500 that's run here in February. Handling becomes a key factor here in July because the heat makes the racetrack very slick. They say when you come here in Daytona, you want about 60% horsepower and about 40% handling. Well, it's reversed when you come here in July, perhaps 60% handling and 40% horsepower.
As a matter of fact, in the 70s, some of the General Motors teams would run an Oldsmobile 442 in February. In July, they would come and run a Monte Carlo 2 or 3 miles an hour slower than the Oldsmobile, but they had to get that car to handle. The Monte Carlo, it looked like a rolling shoebox, but it would go through the corners, and that's the key.
I even brought a short track car here back in the early 60s, so that's how much handling does count here during the July race. Well, there's one fellow who has won this race in the past that has a starting position way back in the field, and John, is sort of puzzling.
Yes, it is, Ned. You look at Bill Elliott starting shotgun on the field, 43rd. What about his teammate? Usually teammates have similar cars, similar engines, but Elliott's teammate, Jimmy Spencer, starting 3rd. In fact, first round qualifying, he was some 6 miles an hour faster than Bill Elliott. Junior Johnson owns both teams. And Junior, what is the difference between Bill Elliott's car and Jimmy Spencer's car?
Well, Spencer's car has been built to replace the one he had here in Daytona in February. And we changed the car around a little bit, and I think it, you know, runs through the corners freer, and that makes it run a little quicker. But when Bill qualified the other day, evidently they left a plug wire or something loose on the car because it just didn't come up to speed. It's like 300 RPMs off from what he'd been running during his practice. So I think he'll be running a lot better today and probably be in the hunt all day long. But they're similar cars, but Spencer's is a later version of that type car.
All right, well, thank you very much. Now, these guys aren't really worried, the crew I'm talking about, because, Bob, back in 1988, Bill Elliott started dead last right here for this race. He came back to win it.
As a matter of fact, last year Kenny Schrader had a bad starting position. He came on to finish in third position. The cars are on the track, and the start of the Pepsi 400 is just moments away. Welcome back to Daytona and the Pepsi 400. We're a lap away from the start of this 160-lap event. Let's take a look at the racetrack they will be competing on here today. The front stretch, which is actually the chutes that go to and from the tri-oval, 1,200 feet. The back stretch is 3,600 feet. The corners are banked at 31 degrees, the straight at 6 degrees, and the tri-oval at 18. And there is the shape of Daytona International Speedway. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Dale Earnhardt will start from the pole position in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet at a speed of 191.339 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt with his first pole of the year. Loy Allen will be outside. He was the pole sitter for the 500 here in February at 190.868. Second row, Jimmy Spencer in the McDonald's Ford, car number 27. And outside of row number 2, the Kodak Film Chevrolet, driven by Sterling Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee. In the third row, it'll be Ernie Irvan and Ken Schrader. Jeff Bodine and Greg Sachs will occupy row number 4. In the fifth row, it'll be Terry Labonte and Jimmy Hensley. Row number 6, Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon. In the seventh row, Rusty Wallace going for 4 in a row and Bobby Labonte. In the eighth row, the 2 Jack Roush cars, Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas, the Valvoline Ford, and Ted Musgrave in the Family Channel Ford. Then we have Todd Bodine and Mike Wallace going to row number 18. There you see Mark Martin's 4th in points, 3 top 5s. Ted Musgrave is 11th in the points. No top 5s on the super speedways this year. Todd Bodine and Mike Wallace will start back in row number 9 for today's race. Jeff Purvis and Hut Strickland will occupy row number 10. And the rest of the starting lineup you will see as the cars are picking up speed, getting set to go for 160 laps here at Daytona. Right now we have partly sunny skies. We hope that the showers that are predicted for later this afternoon will stay away.
And there were half a dozen cars that did not make the starting field here. Included among those is Wally Dallenbach Jr. and the Richard Petty car.
There are the Petties, Richie out qualifying Kyle. Derek Hope, Ward Burton, Mast and Hamilton took to the provisionals, and the champions provisional went to Bill Elliott. Here comes the field down for the start. The green flag is waving. Dale Earnhardt with a slow start as Loy Allen puts his winner's car out in front for the moment. And the Pepsi 400 is underway from Daytona.
Done that in February and won the Daytona 500.
Loy Allen led the first lap. Ooh, some contact there between Allen and Jimmy Spencer in turn number 2. Allen led his first NASCAR Winston Cup race at Michigan. 7 laps, and he just led lap number 1 of this one, but now the field begins to shuffle about as Earnhardt has grabbed the lead and looking to change of positions back a bit.
Well, Spencer had to back off when he got sideways there when he and Loy Allen got together, and when you back off of a restrictor plate engine, you're going to lose some position. It takes a little while to get the momentum back up, so they did a lot of scrambling passing.
And Earnhardt has led the race now. He gets up 5 bonus points for leading.
That's one of the reasons that Ernie Irvan has such a big lead. He has won the same amount of races that Earnhardt has, 3 apiece, but Ernie Irvan has won more bonus points than anyone.
In third, there's Greg Sachs running in 4th position. The battle for 5th between Jeff Bodine in number 7 and Sterling Marlin in number 4 as they again are in the banking in turns 3 and 4. Looks to the outside of Loy Allen as they go into turn 1.
Wow. Might have been a mistake on Ernie's part.
Opens up the bottom lane, and Greg Sachs is trying to take advantage of it with his Hoosier teammate Jeff Bodine right behind him.
Now Irvan pulling up on the outside once again of Loy Allen. Allen stays to the low side this time. Trying to work a little better for him coming off of turn 4.
Loy Allen did a nice job there, Ned. Recognized that Ernie was on the outside. Give him some room. Into turn 4.
Battle for that second position. I thought Ernie was going to get it as they went across the starting line, but now Loy Allen battles back on the low side, and we have 3 Hoosier shod cars there on the bottom lane with Allen, Sachs, and Jeff Bodine. Here comes Brett Bodine, it looks like, making it 3 wide down the backstretch, and Jimmy Spencer will also go down there in the 27th car.
Okay, somebody's got to give a little bit here. Greg Sachs does. He backs off in the car number 77. Jeff Bodine trying to follow.
Second and third running side by side, third and fourth side by side. Sachs moving up the back alongside of Ken Schrader. We're in Mark Martin's car. Just ahead is Dale Jarrett.
Mark Martin running in about 10th spot right now.
Mark Martin signing a multi-year deal with Valvoline to continue sponsorship on that car. Mark is running in 10th position down the backstretch and looking toward the 31 degrees of banking in turn 3. Here's Brett Bodine.
Bodine is really making a move up through there, right on the inside.
Meanwhile, Irvan and Loy Allen still side by side. You know, Ned, it's pretty impressive that these cars running side by side are able to keep up with Earnhardt.
More than Earnhardt is able to get away, which is the way you want to look at it.
That's right. Yeah, normally when they run side by side, the car in front of them can pull away a little bit, but he doesn't have any help up there of any sort. They haven't started lapping any cars yet, so he doesn't know where to grab one. So he does not have any.
Once again, they fan out 2 and 3 wide down the backstretch. There's the battle for second. Loy Allen, the 19, and Ernie Irvan. The Texaco Haviland Ford on the outside.
This racetrack was pretty green. Had some heavy rains here last night and washed all the rubber. In fact, we've had several heavy showers since practice began here on Thursday. So it's not too slick at this point, Bob, but it'll get slicker as time goes by.
Now on top of Morgan Shepherd's Sitco Ford, and just ahead of him is Terry Labonte. And the 29 car, Steve Grissom, is slowing. He had a good qualifying effort, started 21st on the field, but the car is up high in the banking in turn number 2, and everybody is going around him. Steve Grissom, one of the rookie rookie contenders in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series in 1994. Meanwhile, back up front, it is still Earnhardt leading with the field lined up 2 by 2 behind him. It's a flat tire for Steve Grissom. So he'll come in and get that tire replaced and go back in competition. Now Lloyd Allen breaks away from the 2 by 2 he had with Ernie Irvin. As we see a good battle here from Morgan Shepherd's perspective. A leg speed on the left and Rusty Wallace right in front in the Miller Genuine draft. We're glad you could join us for our live coverage of the Pepsi 400 from Daytona. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World today at Daytona International Speedway in Florida of the Pepsi 400. Steve Grissom is in. Let's go to the pits.
Steve Grissom, this is his second pit stop. They took on right side tires the first time. This time the left side. They found nothing wrong with the right side tires. They had to pull the right front fender away. Also went back out, still felt a bad vibration. So now they've come in to change left side tires. And that is going to put the defending Busch Grand National champion at least a lap down.
Yeah, he's already lost a lap and is just about to lose another one, Ned.
Yes, he is. As the leaders go by him as he tries to get up speed going into turn 1, so he is 2 laps down. Tough break for Steve Grissom.
And we don't see the 2 by 2 much anymore. It's basically a freight train now. Now here comes Ernie Irvin down to the inside of Lloyd Allen. There's the 75 car of Todd Bodine. And once again, as we saw during the Daytona 500 here in February, that car running very well.
Yes, he had a strong run here in February. Just caught up in an accident. But running in the top 5, led the race for a little while. So he's feeling very confident today.
Earnhardt is the leader. Ray Sachs running second. Then Jeff Bodine, Sterling Marlin, and Ernie Irvin. Then comes Todd to the inside of Ernie as they head to point again.
Todd's down there with Sterling Marlin trying to get a run towards the front. Meanwhile, back we see Brett Bodine is marching in front. Now he's losing some spots. He came off the second corner. Trying to figure out where to be. All these guys, where can I go to get the run? It's right around that trying to figure out which one of these guys do I follow. The 75 Todd Bodine or the 28 Ernie Irvin. Which car do I follow?
It is so difficult to pass. The cars run so close together, the speeds, and they don't have as much horsepower as they have without the restrictor plates. They're just sitting there and leaving wide open. And we just have to try to figure out which one they can go with to get the biggest boost.
This is the battle for 5th position on back. Todd Bodine gets a nose on Ernie Irvin going into the backstretch. Jimmy Spencer works on Ken Schrader, and Jeff Gordon is there in car number 24. And Terry Labonte in the Kellogg Chevy. Here's John Curtin. What have they been able to find out about Steve Grissom, John?
Well, Bob, I'll show you why the car was vibrating. This is the left rear tire, and look at all of the tread that is missing from it. Apparently, a problem with this particular tire, blistered, and it just came apart. The tread is gone. You can see the cord right there. I asked one of the Goodyear engineers if this could be a potential problem today. He said, no, it's probably just a contamination in the material on this one tire.
But it has cost Steve Grissom 2 laps as he had to come in and get that tire change. In fact, made 2 pit stops. We're riding with Jeff Gordon.
See, he's not turning the wheel a great deal, not fighting the car. The car seems to be handled very well. He's signaling to the people behind him. There's 9 back there. He's saying, let's line up and go to the front if possible.
Jeff is running in 7th position, and Jerry Hutch has more on Jeff Gordon.
Apparently Jeff Gordon has complained that the car is very, very loose. This car was extremely tight. In fact, very, very good in February when a lot of people were battling loose race cars. But now Gordon has signaled to other drivers that his car has been quite loose. We checked with their crew, and apparently they began the race with about 42 degrees of squalor. 40 being the minimum. Most of the field, including Dale Earnhardt, up around 45 to 48 degrees. But Jeff Gordon thought they could get some speed out of the car down at 42. But right now the car is extremely loose entering the corner.
All right, we'll watch for that quick speed there on the left of the right right of your screen just a moment ago, and car number 15 started 33rd and has moved up already to 10th spot.
See the field summary? Jimmy Spencer started third back in 9th, and Lake Speed on that last lap was credited with 10th spot.
Yeah, he is moving up quickly. Rusty Wallace back in 28th spot, so Rusty is not moving toward the front as much as he had hoped.
Matter of fact, he's moving backwards.
Yes.
At this point.
He started 13th. There you see the only car not on the lead lap, Steve Grissom, who had the tire problem. He's 2 laps down.
Is that rim go down on the inside of the screw?
Yep.
See the way out, trying to pass somebody on the left side of our screen. Bobby Labonte is leading this group of cars. And Fred is falling back.
Yes, he had moved up in the top 10, and all of a sudden he got in the wrong line of traffic and got shuffled back.
He's running 16th right now, but started 22nd, so he has picked up several spots here in the early going. 17 circuits are completed at Daytona. Been all green so far, and it is, for the most part, at least up front, a freight train, no 2x2 racing. We do see a little bit of it here in the back of the pack, but up front, it's basically nose to tail, as Ricky Rudd apparently has some problems.
And that black 12 is Tim Steele. Once again, Chuck Bound is still trying to recuperate from the injuries he received at Pocono, and Tim Steele, for the second race in a row, is driving the Bobby Allison in.
It's Ricky Rudd in car number 10. The car just does not seem to be handled like maybe was a little smoke.
I thought I saw a puff of smoke as he went turn 3.
He is definitely not going into the turns as fast as some of the others. We'll watch that. Ooh. A couple of cars get together there, bump momentarily.
That was Joe Nemechek. Ward Burton out an encounter with Ward Burton, and Mike Wallace was also there. And now we move up to the lead pack as Earnhardt once again is at the front of the field down the backstretch with Greg Sachs right behind him. Sterling Marlin running in 3rd spot. Dale Earnhardt has won this event on 2 different occasions, 1991 and 88, and he has a total of 4 wins. Jerry, what's the problem with Ricky Rudd?
Well, apparently Ricky Rudd just radioed Bill Engel, his crew chief, that apparently something has soured in the engine. Can you believe it? After they opened the season with a brand new team here in Daytona, finished 8th in the 500, hoping for even a better finish today. The engine really getting sour and sour more each lap by, so a tough beginning for Rudd here at Daytona.
Looks like I put the kiss of death on the 12 car, Tim Steele. He is slow entering pit road.
So Bobby Allison's car is down off the banking and on the apron of the track, headed for the pit area. Tim Steele, ARCA champion from last year, is moving slowly down pit road and will make the left-hand turn into the garage area.
Wow. Tough break.
Not only for Tim, who's trying to prove himself, but for the team, which has had so much tough luck this year. Don't have a major sponsor on the car, and Bobby Allison Motorsports has had a tough time.
Dale Earnhardt leading. He's the defending champion of this event, led 110 of the 160 laps last year. The number 8 car of Jeff Burton, now 10th after starting 27th. And he is the top rookie contender. Mark Martin just behind him in the Valvoline Ford. We ride with him down the backstretch. Lake Speed just ahead of Jim.
The engine in Mark Martin's car.
Jerry Punch can update us on Tim Steele and the Bobby Allison team.
Talking about not having any luck, a 3-time winner of the Pepsi 400. Bobby, your car's headed to the garage area. What's the problem?
The motor went away. Just no warning. Just said the motor went away.
Is Chuck Bound going to be okay to come back in a couple of weeks?
Well, we hope so. When that guy wrecked him at Pocono, it did hurt him worse than we thought it did. And, you know, just been really unfortunate for him. But even worse with Tim Steele in the car, that we just can't seem to get things headed the right direction.
Bobby Allison heading back to the garage area. You talk about somebody needing a break and a sponsor. Here is a legend in the sport that can certainly use a hand if someone out there wants to get involved in racing, guys.
I tell you what, Dale Earnhardt, the last lap, just about crashed down at turn 1. He went in on the bottom of the racetrack and went directly through the wall. I thought he was going to run into the wall, but he saved it, and Greg Sachs had to back off the gas to keep from running in the back of Earnhardt as he faltered control and lost the response.
Greg is now back to 5th position, but Dale hangs on to the lead, and we will see what happened as Jerry goes to check it out. We'll have that report when we come back with our live coverage of the Pepsi 400. Some great racing going on up front. There are your top 5 cars, and Sterling Marlin, who won the Daytona 500 here in February, is trying to inch his way ahead of Dale Earnhardt. As per usual, not willing to give an inch.
Well, many parts mentioned that Earnhardt's car had been going high here in turns 1 and 2, and Sterling took advantage of it the last time around, pulled up beside of him pretty easy. Once he got in beside of him, he could not go any farther. He got side by side. So that just made it that much tougher for him to pass.
We're a little more than 25 laps into the race right now, and these cars are starting to get loose, Ned. I think starting to get loose going in the corner. And Jerry punches with Andy Petrie. What's Earnhardt's problem, Jerry?
Well, the crew sits here watching it like we are, watching the car slip and slide. And Andy, what seems to be the problem up in turns 1 and 2?
I don't know. He said he was a little loose in turn 2 about 6 or 7 laps ago, but maybe he's just trying to run a different line to save the tires. I don't know. He hasn't really said a lot, but he's got his hands full right now, looks like.
He certainly does, guys. He's got a handful of Sterling Marlin down in turn 1.
He hangs on to the lead, just barely, though. Marlin fights back on the bottom. Ernie Irvin is with Sterling down on the bottom of the racetrack, and Bodine is with Earnhardt. Now Marlin gets himself ahead.
And this has allowed the other group of cars to catch up, Bob. When they were running side by side, there were 5 cars that pulled away from others, but now they have caught up, making it
11 cars.
Now, this is exactly what Earnhardt didn't want to happen. That's why he struggled. He wanted to stay out front to keep these cars behind. He did not want in a group of cars with a loose race car as they steer that air. He's going to have bigger problems trying to maintain control.
Earnhardt and Irvin run side by side, allowing Marlin to stretch out his advantage. 11 cars are in the lead track. Speed is up there battling with them. And John has more on this great drive by Lake Speed as he goes to the inside and tries to pass Gordon and Greg Sachs. John?
Well, I was just talking to Donnie Wingo and the crew. I said, what happened? Y'all didn't qualify that well until yesterday. He said, well, the car runs great in the draft. Now, while Jerry was talking about Dale Earnhardt being loose, they picked up just the opposite problem. Lake radioed in 1 lap ago, told the crew that he had picked up a push, a slight push, in turns 1 and 2. So we'll look for them to make a slight adjustment on their first pit stop.
All right, we go back inside Jeff Gordon's car now. That's Lake Speed on the outside. Greg Sachs has already passed him.
Spencer squeezes in between 2 cars.
He knew just how much room it took for that Ford to get in there. He thought he did, and he put her in there.
Didn't have an inch to spare.
Now Jeff Gordon will fall in behind Jeff Burton ahead of Mark Martin. And that's Mark Martin's in-car camera.
Bouncing when you come off the turn 4. That's not the camera bouncing, but it's bouncing up and down along with the car.
Worked out pretty well for Dale Earnhardt because there's no one right behind him to to get his car loose. He said Jeff Bodine, the next car, he's 2 or 3 car lengths back. Once again, inside Mark Martin's car. Very little steering wheel. It looks like his car is handling well.
And he's doing a good job of drafting. It's about a half a car length. It's good through the turn, about a half a car width below Jeff Gordon, and that stabilizes both cars.
And the field summary shows you that Bill Elliott, who started 43rd, has moved up to 30th. And here is Ernie Irvin taking the lead away from Sterling Marlin.
Oh, he made that look easy. He saw a weakness on Sterling's part coming off of turn 2 there, and just slipped right up beside him. He wants those 5 lanes.
And the first 4 beginning to separate themselves now a little bit. The top 4 are Irvin, and Jeff Bodine.
And Spencer back there in the 5th position. Now he's beginning to pick up a little bit as he's broken away from late speed. Jeff Bodine making a move here on Earnhardt, and that'll tighten him back up again because that group of cars running single file. Bodine does make the pass, but that gave them a little bit of extra picking them right back up to him.
Sterling Marlin staying within about a car length or so of leader Ernie Irvin, and Marlin finished, of course, first in the Daytona 500 and second at Rockingham in the first 2 super speedway races of 1994, and he has had no top 5s since then.
Now Earnhardt has lost about 10, 15 car lengths, so that blue problem is probably getting a little bit worse as time marches on.
Vestas Brakes providing ESPN with these terrific helicopter shots of today's Pepsi 400. Ray Vestas Brakes, the best in brakes.
15, 20 car lengths behind the 3rd place car of Jeff Bodine. Lake Speed and Jimmy Spencer side by side contesting the 5th spot. They've got the 4th spot.
Lake Speed just moved out of the way. His car might be a little tight, but that's good at this point of the race. He gets down on the inside and gets the back and just takes off.
Today's broadcast of the Pepsi 400 is brought to you under exclusive Spencer running side by side now with Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin looking on.
Spencer's car is low. Really looks to be loose right now, too.
Slides way up the bank. It's up there in the top lane.
He just moves out of the way. Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon had a problem right down on the inside. At least Gordon got by.
Ernie Irvin, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Bodine. Irvin has 4 restrictor plate wins, with 2 here at Daytona and 2 at Talladega. We'll be right back. Together as ESPN brings you live coverage of race number 15 of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series for 1994, the Pepsi 400. It's Ernie Irvin, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Bodine, the top 3.
And they have broken away from the 4th place car, which is now Greg Sachs.
Here comes the second group from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 as Mark Martin finally does pass Jimmy Spencer. At 11th position at the tail of this lead draft.
About 5 laps ago, Ken Schrader had lost the draft of this group. He was about 2 seconds behind her, but now he has caught back up to them.
There's their lead group. And our second group, I'll just tell you now, there's another group. Let's see, Schrader. Closing in the back of Spencer.
Now let's go back and check on another group being led by 12th place runner right now, Dale Jarrett.
They were really tight a few laps ago, Bob. Jarrett was leading a pack that included Terry Labonte and there we see Todd Ledine right behind Jarrett. They've sort of broken away from Jeff Purvis and Morgan Shepherd, and Labonte's car got off the loose kick and was ready to go. They're not doing a real good job of drafting. They're not staying close enough together, but about 3 laps ago they were. There were about 7 cars that were very close together.
9 and 75, and Jeff Purvis in the country time car is next, right ahead of Morgan Shepherd. Now here comes another group of cars. That's Michael Waltrip, John Andretti, Bud Strickland, Nemechek.
And here is Rusty Wallace.
And he is
the Miller
way
Genuine
back
Draft
there.
Ford is running in 34 spot. John Kernan, Jerry, what's wrong with Rusty?
Well, we said he was on a roll at the beginning of the day, 3 in a row, and I'm with Buddy Perry, the crew chief. Buddy, what is the problem?
Well, the problem is, you know, we wrecked out in February, and we also wrecked in Talladega. This is a brand new car. It hasn't been in the wind tunnel. We just got it off. Matter of fact, the paint's not even dry on it. So Rusty's doing a great job. We're using this as a gauge to run the car at Talladega. We're going to come in and make some adjustments and see if we can get this thing caught back up. Rusty's doing a good job just hanging on right now. You see Earnhardt's fading. A lot of cars are loose out there. But like I said, we have no time on this race car, and so we're doing all we can do.
Basically, it becomes a 400-mile test session for the Miller Motorsports team and Rusty Wallace.
Running back in 33rd position behind Rick Mast. Rusty tested at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway recently, brought 4 cars and 9 engines, deciding on which one he'll use there. Lake Speed drops to the inside of Dale Earnhardt and tries to pick up that position.
That's for 8th spot.
Earnhardt seems to be dropping back. John, what's the story there?
Richard Childress and Earnhardt a couple of laps ago had radioed in and complained that the car had picked up a severe push. Now we anticipate pit stops happening around lap 50 to 53. Childress says what they will do is try and loosen the 3 car up, get him back out. In fact, one of the crew members held up 2 fingers. We might even see them go with just a 2-tire change.
Wow. He looks like he's loose the way he's going in the corner down there. He looks like he's fighting a loose car, but it could be this car just not turning when he gets down to the corner.
And Jerry Punch has more on pit stop, which should be coming up before too long.
Guys, remember Talladega, it's called Let's Make a Deal. Who's going to pit when and who's the dancing partner? Well, right now we're already seeing some of the deals being made down here. The 4 car and the 28 car, both expected to pit around lap 54. That means if they were to go green, they could make it on 2 pit stops only. 2 pit stops, 54, lap 108, then have 52 laps to go to the checkered flag. Looks like possibly Mark Barnes and some of the other crew chiefs are down here also trying to make a deal to come in all at the same time.
And there's a deal being made right there as Larry McReynolds comes over and talks to Tony.
That's Tony Glover, the crew chief on Sterling Marlin's car. Of course, Larry McReynolds, the crew chief on Ernie Irvin's car.
And we saw that we're not very animated in their discussion. As the race wears on and we get down to the end, it becomes much more animated. Hey, you got to pit. We got to pit together.
Right now, with only 40 coming off, 43 laps being completed, there's a whole lot of once again up high on the racetrack.
Ken Schrader about to move around him.
Ken Schrader, although not stealing a whole lot of headlines this year, has had a great season. As we told you when we came on the air and showed you the point standings, he's 5th in the points. But 6th behind 4th place Mark Martin. Ken Schrader is having a great season for Hendrick Motorsports. We'll be back with more live coverage of the Pepsi 400 in just a moment. Ernie Irvin, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Bodine are your top 3 as we rejoin us for lap number 46 of the Pepsi 400. Webestus Brakes providing helicopter helicopter shots of today's Pepsi 400 race action. Helicopter hovering high above and giving you a perspective of not only the action on the track, but the tremendous crowd that's turned out here on a typical hot and humid day in Florida. And there is the 23 car of Hut Strickland that has apparently, well, an engine or something has gone wrong because he's going very slowly.
He could have run out of gas, Bob, but it's a little bit early with the restrictor plate engines. They didn't run as much gas. If they were not running restrictor plates, we would have already seen the entire field in the pits. But, you know, it's possible that he could have run out of fuel.
Then what, he's awfully slow up in 3 and 4. Maybe he'll make it back. Maybe he won't. If he don't, that'll be a break for a lot of cars.
Well, he's in the middle of turn 4. Looks like he is going to make it. We will be making a pit stop in the next couple of laps. We'll keep our eyes out for that. As Strickland's car has now made it off of the 4th turn onto the entrance to pit road. Here they are. Top 3. Here comes 4, 5, 6, and 7. Being led by Greg Sachs and Jeff Burton and Jeff. Now, might there be a problem with that car, Jerry?
Exactly, Bob. You've heard of the term hot shoe. Well, how about hot foot? Gordon's car is loose or tight. What's happening is his right foot is burning. They are going to come in on their regular pit stop here in just a few laps and put this pad over his shoe to try to keep his foot from burning. He is moaning and complaining. In fact, yesterday in the final practice session, we took our little temperature gauge and shot the floorboard after 20 laps. It was 151 degrees down at the driver's right foot.
That's hot enough to fry an egg, isn't it? Or your foot.
I don't know how they're going to get that piece on his foot. I mean, they have a window in the right side of the car, and I don't know how they plan on doing this unless they're going to take the window out and someone dive in the car with him.
Because with him strapped in the way he is, he can't lean in to do it.
No, he can't be.
Well, Hut Strickland did make it back to the pits, but they have a hood up on his car, so apparently it was not out of fuel. They haven't even attempted to change tires.
Here's Mark Martin now looking ahead to Jeff Gordon, and pit stop should be occurring here momentarily. That's the completion of lap number 49.
And see the windshield, see how Jeff Gordon's car is going up? That's a Lexan windshield. It's not glass. That's why the picture distorts every once in a while.
Yep. Let's look at the telemetry here. Tachometer on the left and the speedometer on the right.
6,590, 6,600, 6,700 RPM. Man, oh man, see, at the short tracks, we're accustomed to seeing like 8,500. Here, about 7,000 RPM, 192 miles an hour.
On the right there, you see the red. That is the highest that they achieved, so 65.13. Here comes Harry Gannon for a pit stop. Harry starting his final race ever at Daytona. Now that we're into the second half of the season, every track that Harry competes on will be his final performance at that particular venue.
4 tires.
Harry got a 1957 Chevy convertible last night. He traded for one of his race cars. And here comes Brett Bodine in for a pit stop. Now we are beginning to see the pit stops being made under green here with 50 laps completed. John Kernan can see it.
Brett Bodine in. It looks like it's only going to be right side tires for the Quaker State Ford. They also bumped the spoiler up. Apparently the car just a tad on the loose side. Also tape on the front nose. Bobby Labonte brings his Pontiac in. Yes, it's a 2-tire change, and Brett is down and away. Bobby Labonte in for a change. It's going to be a 4 tires. If he will take the lug nuts off on the left side. Also 2 cans of gasoline. We expect a lot more crews coming down as they're going to swing around to the left side. Now Jimmy Spencer is also in further down pit road. They make a chassis adjustment on Bobby Labonte's car, and Loy Allen also coming down pit road.
So is John Andretti. Lake Speed is in. Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Hillen, Derek Cope. He is overshot or something.
Ned's microphone isn't working, so let me tell you that Derek Cope overshot his pits. Couldn't find it. He's got to go all the way back around to find his pit.
Jeff Gordon comes in. Kyle Petty is on pit road. Jerry Punch will call Jeff Gordon's pit stop. Here he comes. We'll see if he puts that thing on his foot, Jerry.
Well, the bad news for Jeff Gordon, they have told him under a green flag pit stop, which this is, they will not have time to put the pad in. As Benny Parsons mentioned, they had to take the right side window out and take the net down. The window net has a clamp. They told Jeff, if we get a caution flag, we'll hand you the pads to shoot it on. All they do right now is change right side tires. Jerry grabs the motor, puts it back in gear, and he is down and away.
Swing around the left side. It's a full tire change for Dale Earnhardt. They've also taken a rubber out of the right front. Right that's tight. Earnhardt used a little bit of sheet metal damage on the left front of his nose. Apparently, Earnhardt had gotten into somebody, but it doesn't look like it's serious damage.
Now, here come the front three as Irvin, Marlin, and Bodine all come to... Oh, and we have a near crash on pit road as Ernie Irvin and Todd Bodine ran into each other. What happened, Jerry?
Well, contact, it was the front end of Todd Bodine's car. The left rear fender on Ernie Irvin's Havoline Ford was crumpled in. The crew now never faltered 1 second. They have already changed right side tires. Now left side tires going on. Meanwhile, they likewise changed left side tires on the Kodak Chevrolet. Here is Ernie Irvin down and away. They finally pulled the jack on Sterling Marlin's car, and he will head down as a tire rolls across the middle of the road. Rusty Wallace will dodge the tire as he brings his car in for his first pit stop.
Has made it to the grass, so it's not a threat to be hit. Rusty Wallace getting service on his Miller Genuine Draft Ford. And here is what happened as Bodine and Ernie made contact.
Todd Bodine is leaving the pits. Ernie Irvin's coming in, and they do make contact. And I tell you what, that tire, let's watch one more time. As Ernie's trying to get to his pits, Todd Bodine is trying to leave, and folks, that could have been some serious damage. And you know, I think this tire out there, no, someone has walked out there. It's going to get that tire with green flag situation going on. But meanwhile, Ward Burton is slow up at 3 and 4.
And this could be a caution as it looks as if that car will not make it back to the pit area.
I said 3 and 4. Is that turn 2?
It's over in turn 2, so he's got a long, long way to go. And as you take a look here on the right, let's point this out, guys. Some improvements to Daytona. That is a concrete wall and catch fence they've constructed to keep people out of the lake. Dick Trickle is in with new sponsorship, Skybox International on that car.
Jeff Burton is just now leaving the pits. The Rebesta Sport, he was leading the race, and the caution flag is out.
The caution comes out on lap number 54. The first of the day, and it's because Ward Burton is stopped over at the bottom of turn number 2, we presume. The Hardy Chevrolet is out of view. Back with more live coverage in a moment. Sterling Marlin with the hood up on pit road.
Looks like they're putting water in the car. That looks like a water hose. They're trying to feed some water in. Jerry Punch, are you there?
Yeah, we are here, Benny, and unfortunately it's not exhaust gases that's overheating. It is the engine that's overheating in this Kodak Chevrolet. You know, earlier when Sterling took the lead and Ernie Irvin was following him, Ernie had radioed in, and we saw as the car leaves, there's water pouring out of the overflow valve in the back. Ernie radioed into his crew chief lane. With 14 is there spraying water on my windshield. I'm behind him. I'm going to go ahead and pass him and lead this thing, and that's why you saw Larry McReynolds go down and tell Tony Glover, we think your car is overheating. When they came down pit road, they looked at the water temperature, which wasn't really that high, but it's still pushing water out of the exhaust, and now he came back in a minute ago, and it was starting to peg the water temperature. So it looks like it could be a bad omen for the defending Daytona 500 winner.
That car number 4, by the way, has won 3 of the last 7 races here at Daytona with Ernie Irvin and Sterling Marlin, the 91 500, the 92 400, and the 94 500. Here is Loy Allen completing his pit stop in the Hooters Ford, getting back out of the racetrack. Others include Bobby Hamilton and Dave Marcus in, and John Kernan has a report on the 31 car.
Well, Bob Ward Burton had been to pit right behind Bill Elliott. Because they were pitting nose to tail. Elliott in the first pit, and then Ward the next one. Well, Ward came in behind Bill and could not get into his pit. Therefore, he had to go back down pit road, back out onto the racetrack, and that is when he ran out of gas. They finally got the car filled up and refired, but he's got to be a couple of laps down by now, at least.
They pushed the car back of the wall, and I thought maybe he was going to drop out of the race, but they're only in the car started. Back to Jerry with Sterling Marlin.
This time they're going to come back in and put 4 fresh tires on the car. They change the right side tires, come back around and change left side tires. Once again, they'll top it off in fuel. Remember, most of these teams trying to make it on just 2 fuel stops. They will also come across and add a round of bite in the left rear. Maybe make it a round and a half. They now let the car off the jack and he is down and away, but a little bit of smoke from the cars and begins to make his way back to turn 1.
As we watch all these pit stops, I want to say hello to one of our producers, Pam Miller, who's back in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hello, Pam. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, we hope you can rejoin us real quick. And a new race fan entered the world on May 17th, Alexander Thomas Laddick, who is the son of one of our cameramen, Tom Laddick, Tom and Vicky, with a new baby boy, 7 pounds and 12 ounces. Well, some sunning going on here as the sun remains out, and some hot tubbing. Looks good. Wish I could join you. We're calling, however, the Pepsi 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race. We'll be right back. Currently, the Visitor Center greets you when you come to the World Center of Racing. But by the spring of 1996, it will be transformed into an $18 million expansion known as Daytona USA, where race fans can experience the excitement of motor racing. Daytona USA will double the size of the existing building and will incorporate state-of-the-art interactive technology. It will educate and entertain not only the knowledgeable race fan, but also non-motorsports-oriented visitors. Sir Malcolm Campbell's record-breaking Bluebird racer will be on display, as well as historical memorabilia and numerous exhibits. Opening in the spring of 1996, Daytona, USA. $18 million will be spent in the next year or so to bring that into reality, and it's just another reason why you should come to Daytona, certainly to see a race, but if your visit brings you at an off-race time, why, you can see a lot here at Daytona.
You know, Ned, I bet you they haven't spent $18 million on this racetrack up to this point.
I think the original cost was somewhere between $2 and $3 million of the track itself.
And this expansion several years ago was about $9 or $10 million, so that is a huge number they're talking about.
We're showing you an Autolite field summary where everyone is running at the moment as we remain under caution. The reason for the caution was Ward Burton's stalled car over in turn number 2.
And we see there were 28 cars in the lead lap, Bob. A number of these cars during the green flag pit stops got a lap down.
Rusty Wallace is a lap down, running in 32nd position.
And the bad news is that Ernie Irvin and Earnhardt, his competitors in the Winston Cup, have both led the race.
Harry Gann is having problems. John, what's the problem?
Bobby's just leaving pit road after a 4-tire change. They also put 2 full rubber donuts in both of the rear springs.
And Harry just going out of the pits down to turn 1, so he's going to be running by himself out there for a while.
He's shown as a lap down in 37th position as the field goes slowly through corner number 4, still being led by the pace car, but now Pontiac pace car pulls up and we're set for the final 100 laps of this 160-lap Pepsi 400. The leader of the race is Jeff Gordon, with Ernie Irvin running second. Jimmy Hensley in car number 55 leads them down. He's at the tail end of the lead lap.
And Darrell Walton, the Western Auto car, a lap down, both up trying to get that lap back. Rusty Wallace right by the side of Ernie Irvin.
I think Jeff better play it cool here and not try to get the lap down at the moment.
He's going to use his draft right now to try to pull ahead of the others and pull by Walter, which he does. It's Darrell Walter on the inside.
Well, it's certainly too early to say anything yet, but Rusty is not living up to the standards he has set the last 3 races. The second spot.
And now Jimmy Hensley does go a lap down to Jeff Gordon. And Ernie Irvin is on the outside trying to follow Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Bodine is third, and then Ken Schrader, and then Mark Martin, your top 5 with 98 laps to go. Looking from out the back of Jeff Gordon's car, back to Ernie Irvin.
McDonald's car, great run
out, Benny, and had to go back around again. That really cost him.
You pointed that, man. I just said it.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't say it. I could say it until he couldn't hear me.
Oh, Martin almost on the apron down there. By Schrader. He had a good run. Thought he would take that spot away, and he might. Still contested.
7 cars broke away, but included in that group is Jimmy Hickson in the lap now. Mark Martin and Ken Schrader are battling alongside each other. And Dale Earnhardt is catching up to this group. Greg Saxon, number 77, seems to be going the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't know if he got caught down on the inside lane there behind Darrell Walker, who's not running as fast as he was. Now Greg moves up on the outside, and that cost him several positions. Now Rusty Wallace moves over to let Lake Speed and Dale Jarrett go by.
Jim Purvis is on the inside behind Darrell and Steve Grissom. And there goes the lead. Ernie Irvin trying to take the lead from Jeff Gordon. He does it.
Jeff O'Neill falls in on the back of Ernie Irvin and takes second position. Mark Martin will come along. He goes to third. To challenge for fourth.
Wow, who is that on the outside up there?
Lake Speed coming up on the outside. This race is just having a great race.
He and Spencer come off. Which makes me nervous when those guys come off side by side.
A lot different perspective up here than it is behind the wheel, isn't it, Benny?
Sure is. That always scared me when I was behind the wheel.
They never acted that way. This is Derek Cope's in-car camera, and he goes to the inside of Jimmy Spencer in the middle of turn 2.
That's Spencer leaving the loose, and Spencer has to go up the racetrack, carry the car off the racetrack, and catch it back in. And Cope tried to go by, but he had no one to help him. And Spencer went up on the outside, found other cars to help him, and
made a good pit stop, and he was back to that 20th position, but now he's back up in the top 10. Now the first
car. And there's Greg Sachs.
There's Michael Waltrip in the number 30 cars. Ned said a terrific year. In '93, he was 22nd in points at this point in the season. Now he is 8th, and as a matter of fact, his lowest position in the points this year has been 22nd, but he has really been putting together some consistent finishes recently.
He ran well here in the Daytona 500 and crashed up in turn 3 with Todd Bodine and Jimmy Spencer, and you think Ted Musker is gone for that big crash. Whoa, baby!
Like I say, Spencer knows exactly how long that car is, but I guess.
He misjudged by about a quarter of an inch that time.
The back end hung out, didn't he? Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, and Ted Musgrave there in the middle of your screen.
One thing about it, Ned, they're in 2 distinct different grooves. Some of the cars on the bottom of the racetrack and other cars right on the top of the racetrack.
Your car is set up and now it's heading. Bill Elliott, he's right up there in 13th position. I believe he's moved up to 12th now.
Guess what groove he's running, folks?
Elliott started scratch on the field in 43rd position, took a champion's provisional to get into the field. Didn't even participate in second day qualifying, made the option before it. He's moved up well. Highest position has been 11th. He has not led a lap, but he is doing as Junior Johnson suggested, having a good run. And John Kernan has more on Bill Elliott.
Well, Bob, Bill's contract with Junior Johnson is up at the end of the season, and all the speculation leads everyone to believe that Junior is headed back to Dawson, or not Junior, but Bill is leaving Juniors to head back to Dawsonville to form his own team along with Ernie Elliott. Bill, by many members of the media, if that is a distraction, if he's already looking forward to next year. Bill says absolutely not. In fact, he believes he's more focused right now with the Junior Johnson crew because he's trying to help them work through the slump than he has been since he joined the team when he won all those races his first year with Junior a couple of years ago. But Bill says right now he is focused on what he needs to do to get a victory for Junior Johnson sometime this year.
And of course, he wants to do so for himself and his fans too, because he has one of the largest followings of any driver on the circuit, multi-time winner and the most popular driver, and he wants very much to give his fans something too to show that it's not just Bill Elliott that is winning.
Ever see the Heilig Myers car? Mike Wallace
Running 14th, Benny.
pretty good car, pretty good run for Junie Don Levin. Mike Wallace. There goes Saxby on the outside. Outside pole sitter closes up the back run for Mike Wallace.
He's a lap down.
Todd Bodine is also in this group. Well, Ernie Irvan leads with Jeff Bodine running second, Mark Martin third, Jeff Gordon fourth, and Dale Earnhardt fifth after 70 laps. There are the leaders as we complete lap number 73 of the Daytona International Speedway Pepsi 400. It's Ernie Irvan, Jeff Bodine, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt.
The white car on the inside they're going by is Richie Petty, the nephew of Richard, Maurice's son.
He's been off the pace quite a bit, 5 laps down in 41st position. Here's Jerry.
A couple laps ago, Ernie Irvan radioed his crew. Did someone go down and tell the 7 crew and the 6 crew if they'll stay in line, we may have a chance of pulling away. Tell them that lap 3 is coming in a hurry. So Irvan said, hey, tell Bodine to stay right behind me. Won't get away. Otherwise, Earnhardt's going to catch him.
It looks like that Dale is doing just that. He has passed Jeff Gordon. He's now in 4th position and coming forward.
Here's Jeff Burton. Remember, he was running very well earlier on.
Well, in the top 10 before those pit stops, he finds himself now back in 15th position. There are your top 3. Here's Ken Schrader.
You see, Jimmy Spencer has been able to get by Jeff Gordon as well.
Yep. Both Schrader and Lake Speed are trying to find a way around Jeff Gordon.
Derek Cope there, starting at 98, is running very, very strong. The lap down. He's able to run with the leaders. As we look out his windshield towards Lake Speed.
By Schrader and Lake Speed once again going to try to get by Jeff Gordon.
And I believe they'll do it. And here comes Derek Cope. He'll try to move as well. Gordon not fighting too much. Dale Garrett's going to try to come on the inside as well. But Jeff Gordon off that turn.
And folks, if you look at that speedometer and say, nah, these cars aren't running 185 miles an hour, trust me.
Oh, yeah. 190 at the end of the backstretch. So Jeff Gordon continues to lose positions. Jerry, what's the problem?
Well, as a moment ago when everyone pitted the lead 10 cars, everyone took on 4 tires with the exception of Jeff Gordon. They rolled the dice, took on only 2 right side tires. So right now, Jeff Gordon's left side Goodyear Eagles have 75 laps on them. That's why he's headed back.
And Bill Elliott is still headed toward the front, along with Michael Waltrip. There's Bill up on the high side of the racetrack with Waltrip and Ted Musgrave below him.
They're definitely trying to go in different routes to the front.
You got Elliott taking the long route and Michael taking the short route. But they wind up basically at the same place when they come back.
And we got Mike Wallace watching it all.
Jeff Bodine takes the lead away from Ernie Irvan. Dale Earnhardt comes to second. Mark Martin to third. Ernie goes from first to fourth in just a few hundred yards.
Wow, and Earnhardt didn't take him long to catch that group and go by.
Apparently the handling problems he had earlier after he had led the early part of the race, they must have corrected them during the pit stop. Here's how it happened. Irvin goes a little high. Bodine goes down to the inside and just drives right on by and brings Earnhardt with him.
By the way, Richard Childress wanted me to remind all the GM Goodrich fans that he is going to have open house at his shop in Welcome, North Carolina, July the 30th and 31st. And Earnhardt will be there the 31st, signing autographs.
Jeff Bodine leading this race, and he had a problem down on the grid. There was a problem with one of his tires.
Something happened with one of the tires. Jerry punched him. He had an equalized tire or something, didn't he?
Actually, there were two cars that had problems. The car number 90 of Mike Wallace had an equalized right rear, which they changed. The problem with the 7 car was apparently the interliner on the Hoosier tire had blocked the valve stem that comes out of the tire. They normally put about 10 pounds more than they're going to race in the right front. They had 65 pounds of air in it. They come let 10 pounds out to race at 55. Well, they couldn't let air out of the tire. So they appealed to NASCAR. Gary Nelson said, hey, that would not be safe to allow you to start the race with that much air in the tire. We'll let you change it. So they changed the right front tire.
Jeff Bodine, a former winner here at Daytona. He won the 500 back in 1986. It's his only victory at this particular racetrack. There is Mark Martin, who's walked right in on the back of Dale Earnhardt, riding the draft.
It's almost impossible, Bob, to keep a car straight and not move around a little bit when you're in the draft. Mark Martin looks like he wants to make a move on Dale Earnhardt, but he's not going to this time coming off of turn 2. But you get in that draft, and the air is sent in directly behind Earnhardt's car that you can just move around a little bit. There's not a great deal you can do right now.
If you ever follow a semi down the road and that air moves you around, that's exactly what happens to these cars as they're following each other.
Here's a good battle for position. That Schrader, behind him is Dale Jarrett, and up top is Lake Speed.
That's for about 7th spot, or 6th spot, I guess.
Gordon is also in that battle. A few positions, but now seeming to run okay. And back up front, we have Dale Earnhardt looking to the inside of Jeff Bodine and possibly taking the lead away from him as we have completed half of the Pepsi 400.
He didn't quite have enough run, and Mark Martin was not close enough to Earnhardt to go with him. So Bodine was able to maintain that lead.
Jerry has an update on Ernie, who's dropped back to 4th now.
Guys, a few laps ago, we saw Ernie Irvin lose the lead and go back to 4th place. That was actually by design. Ernie said the car was just too loose running up front. The car is tucked right beneath his rear deck. And Ernie has a 48-degree spoiler. Remember, 40 is the minimum. The only car we could find that had the minimum spoiler on the rear of the car was Jeff Bodine. He was at 40 degrees. And yesterday in the morning practice, Dale Earnhardt knew that Bodine had a 40-degree spoiler, was able to put his nose right underneath the back of the X-side Ford and make Bodine so loose he was able to make the pass. We're going to see if he can pull it off once again.
Bodine was able to stay there today. We see Spencer in 5th. There's our 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. And I'm back. Trying to make a move. Now maybe Mike Wallace would be there to help him along.
As Jeff Burton gets hung up on the outside, riding with Derek Cope. Derek is a lap down in 28th spot. So he is not battling for position with this group of cars.
There are 27 cars on the lead lap, so Derek is the first of those that are one lap down.
Off here again. Is that what he's doing down there, Ned?
Exactly what he's trying to do, but Earnhardt's going to try to take advantage of it. Gets some draft off of here again, picks up a little speed, beats Earnhardt into the turn.
You see, he did gain about a car length advantage by moving down and getting the draft off the Scope Bandit to help him go down the back straightaway a little bit faster.
And by the way, Harry Gant is a lap down, maybe 2 laps down now. I believe he is in 30th. So up front, Jeff Bodine is the leader, followed by Earnhardt, Irvin, Spencer, and Martin. to Daytona International Speedway and the Pepsi 400 as Dale Earnhardt grabs the lead from Jeff Bodine, who got way up high near the wall in turn number 2.
That might be one of the cases of Earnhardt going up there and taking the spoiler off of Bodine's car, and made him go very high, and he's going to lose more than the lead. Go ahead, Ben.
Jimmy Spencer pulled out behind Ernie Irvin, trying to get a draft going. It looks like Ernie's going to be able to make it, but Bodine all of a sudden, he looks like he has completely lost the handle there.
Washing up in the turn.
Once again, a close call coming off the corner.
Jimmy Spencer's going to scare me to death before this day's over.
Mark Martin. And behind Jeff Bodine. Jeff's had kind of an up and down season. He was 9th in the point standings after race number 2 at Rockingham. His low has been 9th in the point standings, and currently he is 15th. But he has had a good run here today. Currently in 4th position for Jeff Bodine. Here comes the other group, and a lot of racing going on. Sterling Marlin trying to weave his way through the traffic. He's up to 13th.
Well, he was 27th when this race restarted because he just came out of the pits after making all those pit stops when he was trying to cool it down. And now he takes another position, so he's moved up to the 12th position.
Michael Walker moved over in the Pennzoil Pontiac with Sterling go by, and he's going to latch on that rear bumper. Rear bumper Sterling's car and try to go with him to the front.
On lap number 60. Here on lap number 87, he is moving up nicely. Now we're with Bill Elliott running well up into the top 20 after a 43rd starting position.
And well up on the racetrack.
Yes.
It's running very high. That's what it seems to work best for him. Just keep on the outside of the racetrack.
Wide open, never backing off the gas.
Jerry Punch has more on Sterling Marlin's march to the front.
Well, we told you they thought they had an overheating problem. I'm with the engine builder, Sheldon Pittman. His front, the car was running hot early. What was the problem, or do you have any idea what the problem is?
We hope this is just a pressure cap, but it can be anything from a cracked head to a bad head gasket. We filled it up, the temperature went down, and right now it's all right, but we have filled the water tank up in case it runs hot again. We'll just have to cool it down.
So he's watching that temperature, and even if the water comes out, it'll begin to peg, and then he has to pit.
Right, we'll get somebody that's behind us to tell our spotter if they see water coming out of it, and that'll give us time to get ready to come into the work.
So watch the right rear of that 4 car, the Kodak Chevrolet. That's where the overflow valve is. That's where they are watching here in the pits, as well as their spotter looking for any fluid coming out.
And apparently some of the spotters have confirmed that indeed there is water coming out of that car. Now back up front, Ernie Irvin takes the position from Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie reassumes the lead.
Stays right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Earnhardt's car washes up, as we say, on the racetrack, and allows Irvin to take the lead. Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin running side by side. Bodine trying to take over third. Irvin does it. A lot of that passing happened in turns 1 and 2, and that, Benny, is more of an indication of how the car is handled than anything else, because if the car is handling right, that's the place to pass on this track.
I think these cars are going in. There's a bump as you enter turn 1. I think sometimes these guys went and hit that bump and it gets the car upset, and they have to go up the racetrack to chase it because there's no reason. We saw Earnhardt lose the lead there. We've seen Jeff Bodine lose the lead there.
Now, this second pack of cars, being led by Ken Schrader, is catching the leaders as they dice around at the front there. They're running in a single file with Jarrett running right behind Schrader and then Jeff Gordon back there. And they are gaining on the front runners.
Big pack of cars here.
Sterling Marlin's going to get him to mix that up a little bit. We'll see running faster than those other cars. He might get
There's Wallace and Bodine and Dave Marcus in 71. He's got sponsorship from Olive Garden Restaurants. The car is painted green and red and looks great. And Dave is a lap down in 27th position. He's the first car on the lap down.
He just went a lap down, just one to go.
Sterling Marlin, the orange car, the Kodak Film Chevrolet on the inside of Lake Speed. Blake's driving a Ford quality Kia car, and there comes Musgrave trying to follow him over.
4 car. He feels like that it is the fastest car. That's where he needs to hang his star.
I think he's right.
Here's another Auto Light Field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. See where he is running. There'll be some disappointment for you Rusty Wallace fans because Rusty has not gotten on track yet. As we look at 16 through 20, still we don't see Rusty Wallace.
Dale Jarrett just passed Ken Schrader for the 6th position. As they thought to run faster in front of him and get behind him. Someone probably told him that 4 car is coming. So you get yourself in a position to latch on to him when he does come by.
There we find Rusty in 34th position, a lap down. Has been in and out of the pits. He's 8 laps down, and a couple of cars have dropped from competition, including Richie Petty. Jeff Gordon drops to the low side of the backstretch. Trying to get past Kenny Schrader, and he may be able to do so because Marlin joins in the draft on the bottom.
And Sterling Marlin has a very fast race. As it was in February when he won the Daytona 500.
Well, he said that he felt that he had always run a Chevy. He just saw that moment ago. Bill great restrict plate, and he feels great engine, period. But Sterling said what helped him to win the Daytona 500 was handling. And he said yesterday, he said, we got the handle back. So we think that that's going to make this car be very strong again today. Right.
Schrader seems to be losing positions here. There goes lane speed. There has been some side-by-side racing in this group, which has allowed the front 4 to pull ahead. With Ernie Irvan still leading, and Dale Earnhardt in second. Jeff Bodine is third. Then Mark Martin and Jimmy Spencer, and a crash has occurred.
It's over on the backstretch.
John Andretti has crashed, although the car is still running.
And no, yeah, the caution flag does come out right now. Another caution flag.
Our first caution of the day on lap number 94, so we ran nearly 100 laps. Our second caution, first one for a crash, I should say. It comes on lap number 94, John Andretti. Driving for Billy Hagan, encountering a problem on the backstretch, but the car is running okay, or at least it's running well enough to make it back to the pits. Let's see if we can see what happened. Down to the inside, and
There was in a pack of cars there. Terry Labonte goes by, and see those roof flaps go up?
Yep, they work.
When he got backwards, then they went back down.
Keeping the car on the ground and slowing it to where John could get it headed in the right direction and just drive away.
Yeah, I think the roof flaps did a great service to him there.
As they have so many times in the past.
I'm sure that all the firms will be driving into the pits.
Well, this caution comes at a pretty good time, doesn't it, guys? 94 laps in, but if they stop now, they're probably going to have to one more time before we get to the checkered flag.
Hey, Ernie Irvan is not. Oh, the pits are not open.
Yeah, pace car is not out there yet, so the pits are closed. We'll be back with more of the Pepsi 400 in a moment. Just as you rejoin us, the procession comes down pit road. All of those on the lead lap now able to pit during our second caution of the day. Our triple split. Ernie Irvan on the top, Dale Earnhardt in the middle, and then Jeff Bodine. Jerry?
Ernie Irvan's crew is going to try to fix a loose race car. They are pushing up on the rear spoiler. They will change all 4 tires. Remember, Irvan had complained the car was so loose he could not lead with the car. He had to fall back in the draft. Now he hopes with the spoiler pushed up to about 50 degrees, he may be able to lead back upstairs.
Earnhardt looks like he's going to. Well, Irvan gets out first. Earnhardt got out first from where they were there.
His was just a little faster. Ernie Irvan with a 19-second pit stop, and they taking the watch slower than that, and Jeff Bodine with a 21-second pit stop.
But a call to the Mark Martin crew, the Valvoline crew, they came out second in front of Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine. So good job, guys.
There's Mark Martin.
That's probably exactly what he said to his crew right now.
Yep.
Good job, guys.
Well, the reason we are under caution is an incident on the backstretch. Wouldn't call it an accident because John Andretti, I don't believe, hit anything, but the car got sideways coming off the second corner. It slid to the inside of the track, got down into the grass, but John was able to get it headed in the right direction and keep it away from any wall.
good. Don't you know? About 140 degrees inside of that car.
Wow.
There's Jeremy Mayfield, the 02 car.
Here's a replay of John Andretti's incident in the backstretch.
He was running right in front of, looked like the Jeff Purvis car, and all of a sudden the back end came loose, turned around, the roof flaps come up, stays down on the grass, the roof flaps go down, he spins around again, and we'll see those roof flaps come up once again.
There they are. Those roof flaps have deployed, spoiling the air, and keeping the cars on the ground was a problem for stock cars for a long time, but it has been solved with a familiar term, aerodynamics.
In the past few years, the buzzword in Winston Cup racing has been aerodynamics. As air goes across these very slick race cars, it creates downforce. But Ned, when they get going backwards, you've got a problem.
Yes, when they get 135 to 165 degrees around, it has a tendency to lift the cars. But the highly publicized roof flaps has helped the solution. We went over to Embry-Riddle University in their wind tunnel to take a look at how the air flows on this downscaled car.
And watch as air goes across the front of the car like it's going around the racetrack at speed. Notice how smooth the streamers are down the side of the car.
And across the top, and then of course when we get to the rear where the spoiler is, there is a little disturbance back in that area.
And as that air strikes a rear spoiler, that's where we get the downforce on the back of the car. Now folks, watch as this wind is blown across the car backwards. Look at the roof of the car, just how smooth those streamers are. That is a problem because that is creating lift on the roof of the car.
The higher the wind velocity, the lower the air pressure is.
And there you can see the danger zone at 130 to 165 degrees as this air goes across that quarter panel of the car and across the roof of the car. As the velocity picks up, it creates low pressure at the roof level.
And Benny, the same low pressure that causes the lift causes the roof flaps to be sucked up. And as you can see, it disturbs the air passing over the roof.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do, disturb the air so we set the race car back down on the track.
These guys know what they're talking about, don't they? It's exactly the same principle of a wing on an airplane, where you have to get up to a speed before the low pressure area is created and lift is given to the airplane. And that's how the roof flaps spoil that low pressure area and keep it on the racetrack. They've been working on that problem for the past 10 years, and they have apparently solved it. Rusty Wallace has not solved his problems here, however. He's back on pit road after 97 laps of the Pepsi 400. Green flag has just come out. We are back under racing conditions on lap number 100 at the Pepsi 400.
The other guys have a good jump when they drop the green flag off. Mark Martin there beginning to close back in a little bit on him. And he said Mark Martin made a great pit stop. Came out in second place.
You see Bobby Labonte, he's a lap.
Look at Mark Martin take the lead away from Ernie Irvan with ease at the end of the backstretch. I believe you are right. He would be our 9th leader of the afternoon. Bobby Labonte is a lap down. Comes off of car number 4 into the tri-oval once again, and Mark Martin shown as the leader of this lap, picking up the 5 bonus points. By the way, John Andretti, who caused that most recent caution period, was able to remain on the lead lap. He's running in heavy position. We also might mention then that a couple of drivers just before the green came out came in to top off. Ricky Rudd and Greg Sachs. That could play a part in the end of this race.
They have about 62 laps to go, and I can't imagine they could run that far, but who knows? At least they'd be able to go farther than the others and maybe catch a caution. So smart work on their part.
Dale Earnhardt takes second away from Ernie Irvan, so now it's Martin, Earnhardt, Irvan, Bodine, and Dale Jarrett.
Dennis Spencer just passed Jeff Gordon on the last lap.
3 abreast here coming into Sterling Martin, Blake Speed, and Lloyd Allen.
Jeff Purvis right down on the inside of Blake Speed.
Purvis having a great run today. He was running 20th before the pit stop. He came out in 10th place. They're both running engines that are built by Shelton Shipman.
Colt down on the inside. inside. A bunch of cars going by as there's Michael Walker, Brett Bodine, Jeff Burton up on the outside of him.
Jimmy Spencer and Jeff Gordon running side by side. He drops in behind Jeff.
Yes, Gordon made a great move coming off of turn 4, got up on the outside of Spencer, and Spencer was left down there with the draft with. So Jeff Gordon made the pass.
And the 19 car of Loy Allen is smoking. You can see smoke coming from the back end of it, and he pulls up high on the racetrack to get out of everybody's way.
Well, here comes John Andretti on the high side, right behind him. Come on, John, get down a little bit.
And here's some jockeying going on for the lead. Ernie Irvin is going to push Dale Earnhardt. Looked like he was literally pushing him right into the lead.
Earnhardt back on top. He was the pole sitter for today's race, and so therefore is eligible for the Unicount bonus money. $15,000. And my golly, it's good to see Dale Jarrett running up front. He's had sort of a tough season. He is right there for the lead.
He's right amongst them and trying to go by Jeff Bodine.
Didn't do it that time. Here comes Jeff Gordon up on the outside. Gordon has his car working better now. He's going to move around Jarrett up on the outside. Jimmy Spencer will probably go with him.
Well, you've got to take your hats off to Jeff Purvis. He is just running extremely well. He's passed Sterling Marlin. Sterling's going to have to fall in behind Jeff, as now Dale might be hung out on the bottom.
Just don't talk to him. All of a sudden, he goes from 5th to 10th.
John Kernan has a report on Loy Allen.
Loy Allen is taking the Hooters Ford to the garage area. What happened? The car just simply got too hot, overheated, and finally blew up. Walked out. One of the crew members looked at me and said, "She blowed up."
Well, a tough break for Loy Allen, who started on the outside of the front row.
Jim Steele brought the Bobby Allison car back out. He was out a little bit earlier. Failed to mention that something else was going on at the racetrack, so apparently the engine didn't blow in that car. Here's a change for the lead.
Ernie Irvin goes to the front again as Jeff Bodine tries to come with him, but cannot. We've seen some great racing, mostly between Irvin and Earnhardt here in the last few laps. Jeff Bodine has been a contender all afternoon, so has Mark Martin.
Earnhardt has got a great run on Ernie, but he has to go to the top high side to try to do it, and meanwhile he's going to lose a spot. Jeff Bodine has taken over that second spot. There's Purvis. Dale Jarrett hooked up, trying to catch Jimmy Spencer. That's Spencer in the McDonald's car. Country Time Lemonade Mix 51, Jeff Purvis.
Jeff Burton is also hanging right in there. Here's Brett Bodine leading another group of cars that include Bill Elliott, Derek Cope, Morgan Shepherd, Mike Wallace. And once again, the lead draft. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt running side by side, allowing the front two to streak away.
And Gordon's car seems to be really working well on the high side of the racetrack. He's made several passes up there and worked for him. He did keep good momentum going, and the yellow flag is out.
John Andretti has made some contact with the wall. He has damage to the right rear of his car.
So he causes our second and third caution periods of the afternoon. There is damage to the right side of the car. He's made it back to the pit area. However, the caution is coming out. Here they come, racing to the line. There is debris on the racetrack because of Andretti's incident with the wall.
And they should be able to pit now, Bob, and stretching. Most of them should be able to go the rest of the way from here on, I believe.
Yep. There is John Andretti's car that you can see did make contact with the wall on the left, or the right rear, I should say, and we'll see now perhaps how it happened.
Okay, he's running right in front. He's the red car. Joe Nemechek in the yellow car, and the car just gets loose with him. He goes up, tries to save it, but he hits the wall. Greg Sachs and Joe Nemechek go by down on the inside. Looks like the wall's the only thing he made contact with.
Yep.
That was enough before he was concerned, though.
It looked like it
Go ahead.
tore a piece of sheet metal off the right rear of the car.
Then he came down through turns 3 and 4, and we believe maybe a tire blew. Yep. Oh, there it is. You can see.
Yeah, there's where the right rear tire blew. That's what caused the damage to the right rear quarter panel.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of debris that caused the caution flag. Oops, it's gone now.
This is our third slowdown of the race.
Yep.
Average speed of the race at this time is 158.624 miles an hour. We've been under caution for a total of 12 laps and are adding to that right now.
You can see on that board 107 laps. It'll be 108 when they come by this time, so that means there'll be 52 laps to go, so they should be able to make it on fuel from here on after they make this pit stop.
Green flag, the pits are open. Who is going to go in? Is everyone going to pit? Looks that way.
Yep.
So that strategy by Greg Sachs and Ricky Rudd.
Yep. Out the window.
You never know.
That's all right. Yep. Here's Jerry Punch.
In fact, Ernie Irvin, Robert Yates just told me they thought they could go all the way. They could have gone 62.5 laps on fuel based on their fuel mileage. They might have been able to make it, so they won't have to fly either. As they come to a halt behind them, Jeff Gordon, it is fuel only for Ernie Irvin. He does not take on tires. They're putting right side tires on Jeff Gordon's car. Likewise, and now they are stopping Ernie Irvin. The other cars at the end of pit road. We have a near collision as they jam the brakes on the down finally. Put the go sign. Jeff Gordon was able to go past Ernie Irvin.
Well, that was a mess. I thought we were going to have a major incident there.
That was definitely a mess down there, and I think NASCAR is going to sort that out because the Jimmy Cox board stopped the cars. There's another tire rolling across pit road, and cars are coming down through there. Rich Bickle goes by, no problem. Nemechek gets by.
Here goes Dick Trickle. Let's take a look at this again.
We see Jimmy Cox with the paddle that tells Irvin to stop, which he did. Okay, now here comes Jeff Gordon. He's the next car out. He pulls up beside of Ernie and also the 4 car. And we see Jeff Bodine and Lake Speed almost make contact. Finally, Jimmy Cox said, hey, I'm getting out of here. This is too wild for me. And again, I think NASCAR's got to sort this situation.
Yeah, they were holding the cars because there were cars still out on the track coming by. They were going to hold the cars until those cars went by and then send them out in the order that they were coming out of the pits. But it didn't quite work that way.
And the 77 car stalled for some reason. The crew went out, they pushed him back to his stall, or pushed him back to his stall, I guess to try to get the thing started. So it's tough.
They pushed him on past his stall. They're pushing him on back down towards the Roger. He was in the very first pit down towards turn 1. We understand that maybe the rear end came out of it or something in the gearing as he started to take off.
Greg Sachs had a great race going, especially the early part of this event. He was right up there for the lead. Back with more of the Winston Cup Pepsi 400 after this. And let's get an update on Greg Sachs from Jerry Punch as the field comes down through the tri-oval and gets the green flag for a restart. Jerry?
Bob, as they get back to green, Sachs was trying to leave pit road in a hurry. They dropped the jack and he snapped the pinion off of the rear end until he is through for the day, headed back to the garage area.
Tough race for a guy, as you said, who had a great run here today.
Hey, another great run. Sterling Marlin, after all those pit stops, putting water in the car, overheating, has fought his way back to second place. There he is, right behind Ernie Irvin. Texaco having Ford leading the race, and the Kodak Film Chevrolet in second place.
Oh, here we go, 3 abreast down into turn 3. Somebody back off. Come up beside him. He don't have much choice here.
It's the top of the hour, 1 o'clock Eastern time. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you to Daytona International Speedway and the Pepsi 400, July 4th holiday weekend tradition here on ESPN. At the moment, it is Ernie Irvin. Jeff Gordon just took second from Sterling Marlin. A great battle up front, and in fact, throughout the pack.
Sterling has dropped back to 5th spot, where he's contesting 4th right now. Down the long 3,600-foot backstretch. Ernie Irvin. He's the DuPont Automotive finishes.
Chevy has won.
Bob, that paint.
Yeah. Chevrolet, by the way, has won 8 restrictor plate races. The last time a Ford won a restrictor plate race was by the late Davey Allison in the 28 car in the 1992 Daytona 500. John Curtin is with Loy Allen.
Almost had the pole. Earnhardt snatched it from me. You fell back early in the race, but you were just starting to work your way to the front. And what happened? The engine overheated?
Yeah, we overheated. You know, early in the race, we had some rubber on the grill that kept getting on you. It was so tight in the draft. We tried to get out of the draft to cool the engine down, but I think it was just a little too much for it. You know, I can't say enough for this Hooters team. They really did a great job getting the car tightened up, and it started running really well at the end of the race. And, you know, now I can't say enough for this car coming back from Talladega. You know, when we crashed it there, the guys at the shop did a great job putting it back together.
Well, that's what one of the crewmen told me, Bob. They said, just wait till Talladega. We're going to have it all together there.
Yeah, the Hooters team, they do a great job, and they're bringing me up to a level really well.
By the way, let me tell you folks that NASCAR did straighten out that mess at the end of pit road. They put Ernie Irvin in front and the 4 car. We probably didn't say that, but hats off to NASCAR for straightening it out.
We talk often about taking the air off of someone's spoiler. Watch Dale Earnhardt in the 3 car take the air off of Jeff Burton's spoiler, number 8.
Runs up there real close on Burton's left rear quarter. You see how loose he gets him? Didn't touch him, but he got close enough that it felt like somebody touched him and got him loose, got him past, too.
Right behind was Mark Martin. This is how it looked to him.
You see Burton get the car out of shape just a little bit. He has to squeeze out of the gas.
That's what we mean when we say air off the spoiler. Now, some of these cars, as we said during pit stops, made tire changes, some didn't. So we'll see how that plays out. Ernie Irvin did not take on any tires. He was staying out front. Earnhardt did take on 4 tires. Ken Schrader did. Dale Jarrett did. Don't know if Jeff Bodine, he's sliding high out there right now.
Being shuffled back as he gets out of the draft. Ken Schrader coming along to pass him. Cars started together, qualified together, and they are still running together.
Mark Martin and Ted Musgrave, the Ralph Racing team cars. They're located in the same facilities and in Liberty, North Carolina.
Well, here's our Busch race summary. Ernie Irvin has led 55 of the first 114 circuits. We've had 14 lead changes among 9 cars and drivers. 24 machines remain on the lead lap. 3 caution periods, total of 15 laps, average speed just over 152 miles an hour. The lap leaders have included Ernie, who has led the most, then Dale, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin. Also Ricky Rudd, Loy Allen, and Greg Sachs have led here at Daytona. And only 3 cars officially out of the race at this point. Hut Strickland, Richie Petty, and Loy Allen, whom we just heard from. Ernie Irvin trying to add to his points advantage. He has been losing points to Dale Earnhardt in the last couple of races, but now Ernie Irvin trying to add to his 78-point advantage over Dale Earnhardt. His average finishing position this year on the super speedways.
Back through about Jeff running there, and they want to try to jockey around and get themselves out towards the front because they know after about 15 or 20 laps these cars are going to be 3 or 4 pull away, and then there'll be another group that we've seen earlier in the race. So they want to try to be in that front group if they can be.
Jeff Gordon running a strong second, has been on a points recovery, moving from a low of 18th in the points after Sonoma.
Jeff Purvis spins coming off the turn 2.
Several cars are going to be involved in this incident, at least one other.
Is that Brett Bodine down on the inside?
It's
Contact.
Joe Nemechek.
Come off that tire so fast, you can't get slowed down.
Jimmy Hensley involved.
Mr. Ross slowed down and got through it, looks like, and Ricky Rudd, as we see them going down the back stretch.
Bobby Hamilton there on your right. So our first major crash of the day involves Jeff Purvis and others as he lost it in the middle of corner number 2 and took several other cars with him.
Well, Jeff did not take on tires during his pit stop. He had a good pit stop. Here he comes down on the inside of Derek Cope, and the car just simply, the back end goes out from under him. Ted Musgrave was pretty close behind him. He tries to save it, but he can't do it. He goes around. There's Lake Speed coming up. Lake got by, it looks like, but Brett Bodine spun there, and there's Todd Bodine going by, and Morgan Shepherd. But then this other pack of cars come by as he comes back down in the middle of the track. And
there's Nemechek.
Yep.
We see that Hensley's already had some damage. The 16 car also hit the 51 car as he went by, the Family Channel car.
And from another angle, there's Morgan Shepherd getting by all right.
Labonte just stayed in the middle of the racetrack and hoped he didn't run into him. Nemechek has hit the outside retaining wall. He comes down and hits Purvis with the left side of his car.
Yet another angle where you see Brett sliding on the right side of your screen. Purvis getting bounced around pretty good, and they're getting hit by Nemechek. And Joe coming down and making contact with Hensley.
Wow. Purvis just ran up on the 98 car of Cope so fast that he had to turn quickly to avoid running in the back of him. Is what caused the spin. And here comes Ernie down the pits. Ernie Irvin is coming in the pits.
And Sterling Marlin.
Okay, now they didn't change tires a moment ago. Maybe they felt that was going to be a mistake, so they're going to come in and put on tires now. Jerry Punch?
You're exactly right, Ned Jarrett. The last time Ernie Irvin put tires on was back on lap number 96. He would have had to go 64 laps, so they will come in and change all 4 tires. He pitched right behind the Kodak Chevrolet, the car he used to drive. The Morgan McClure team will likewise change 4 tires. Sterling Marlin's crew down to the left side, likewise the Haviland crew. Robert Yates. Here's Joey Knuckles, left front tire going on. They have topped it off in fuel. Raymond Pringle says go, go, go in the radio. A warning that Todd Bodine is on the outside lane. Bodine gets by, Irvin goes, and so does Sterling Marlin.
Bill Elliott comes out, so does Jimmy Spencer, Lake Speed, and Ricky Rudd pulls away from pit road.
And Jeff Burton came back in. And I expect he took on tires as well because he's one of those that did not change tires before. Ted Musgrave is still on pit road. As Benny said, he got a little bit of damage in that situation over there, so they're working on his Family Channel car.
By the way, Brett Bodine and Jimmy Hensley both were able to make it back to the pit area here, make stops and get back out there. You saw a brief shot just a few seconds ago of Jeff Purvis's car on the rollback. There it is. I guess it isn't on the rollback, but it's being taken off of the racetrack. 120 laps completed. Jeff Gordon now leads the Pepsi 400.
Daytona under caution. Daytona 500 winner Sterling Marlin back on pit road once again under caution for an unscheduled stop. Remember, he had an overheating problem early on. The water temperature up to 250 degrees. We talked to Ron Pittman, the engine builder, said it could be a cracked head, could be a blown head gasket. They had cooled it down to 210. It is now back up over 240 degrees. They brought him back in, put some more water in it. They have their fingers crossed. They are hoping he can last for 40 more laps, make it 39 more laps to finish here in the Pepsi 400.
Sterling catching up with the rest of the pack as we take a look at the incident once again that has created our most recent caution. Jeff Purvis in turn number 2 gets sideways and causes a chain reaction.
Well, it looked like Jeff Burton had to slow down a little bit, and so did Derek Cope, and then Purvis tried to dip down on the inside, lost control of the car, and then things really started happening.
And we'll see that Nemechek comes into the accident spinning. There he is. He is spun as he comes back around. boom, he hits the 51 car again. And the Family Channel car did knock off the right front fender. The first car by Purvis was knocked off the right front fender.
From another angle, you can see how Nemechek came up and got sideways, then hit the wall, and as he came down the track, he hits Jeff Purvis. There's contact with him, and then he slides down into the infield, and he makes contact with Jimmy Hensley. But again, those roof flaps deployed on some of those cars, and it kept them on the ground.
Jeremy Mayfield in that other car got tagged a little bit in the grass, too.
Here's how Morgan Shepherd got through it.
Well, I'm sure about now his spotter said, hey, there's trouble up in front of you. Get it or slow down.
The seas parted, and he went right through it, didn't he?
Sure did.
And as soon as he got through there, he hit the gas and said, let me out of here.
Morgan sort of on his honeymoon, got married.
That's right, yeah. We wish Morgan and his new bride happiness.
Cynthia.
And we got 22 cars on the lead lap, and one of those is Rich Bickle. He's being shown in 21st position, and he wants to be sure to tell his class reunion, who are meeting this weekend, why he's not there. Well, he's down here at Daytona running the Pepsi 400, folks, so he wishes you the best. Have a good time, but Rich has got other things to do.
There's the 90 car of Mike Wallace, who is being shown in 8th position. A good run for Judy Donlevy's machine.
Yeah, Rusty Wallace would love to be in the position that his brother's in, because he is losing points quickly.
Rusty is 24th as we get ready for restart. On lap 24.
See Ernie Irvin way back there.
And as the field comes down to get the green flag, Greg Sachs in the 77 car, who has been behind the wall for several laps, comes back out. Here's the green flag. Jeff Gordon is now the leader of the race, with Dale Earnhardt right behind, followed by Ken Schrader, Jeff Bodine, and Mark Martin.
Steve Grissom down the inside, the Diamond Ridge automobile. See how much he's slowing down by being side by side with him.
So he's not trying to do that. He's just trying to roll along there. He's had some problems early and lost a couple of laps with tires.
Bodine going by Derek Cope, and Mark March coming with him.
Cope is 1 lap down, 23rd position.
2 cars on the lead lap. Boy, Derek Cope came very close to taking Dale Jarrett out.
Yeah, that's probably here. So the latest they can get out in single file. That pit stop that didn't come in, but Ernie Irvin did, so he is back in attack.
We'll see if Jeff's tires hold up. Jeff, of course, has broken into the winner's circle in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, having taken the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte.
As Ernie Irvin is coming in a hurry back there. He's got a lot of cars to pass, but there he is. Coming by 75 car.
Contact between the 7509 and Dick Trickle.
And here goes Ken Schrader. He wants second place.
And he takes it. So right now we have Rick Hendrick cars running 1 and 2. And here comes Jeff Bodine on the inside of Earnhardt. Is Mark Martin going to follow him?
Yeah, he will. I know he will. He's
Look
following
at
his
this.
board, buddy.
This is a lot of heavy traffic here behind Ernie Irvin, who threads his way through.
And that car back there, if you're a Winston Cup fan, that is Dick Trickle right behind Ernie Irvin. And he's Skybox, the trading car folks.
Now, Jeff Bodine pulled on the inside of Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett was behind Mark Martin. He decided to go with Earnhardt. See how that's going to play out. So far, it's not working for either one of them. They're running side by side. The front 2 cars are getting away.
Boy, this is hold your breath time. 4 abreast into turn 1. Bodine coming on strong.
And so is Ernie Irvin. He was back in about 20th position after these pit stops, and he has now worked his way back up in the top 10 and is on the move.
He and Mark Martin trying to go by Jeff he make it? Ooh, and Bodine moves up right in front of Mikey. Michael Waltrip, that is. Now, Irvin and Mark Martin trying to get hooked up.
We've got 4 Chevrolets up front there right now. Schrader, Earnhardt, Jerry.
See Jeff Bodine, he's struggling right now. It looks like the 7 car, the Exide battery car, is struggling.
It's not handling the way it was earlier in the race.
Bill Elliott's car is right in the thick of things as Jeff Gordon is only in his 4th years here at Daytona. He has all top 5 finishes so far. Here's John Curtin with a report on his teammate Ken Schrader.
Ken Schrader trying to tuck in closer, and hopefully he and his teammate Jeff Gordon can put some distance on the pass. The car that Ken Schrader is driving today. That is the same car that he drove here last summer. He started 41st and wound up finishing 3rd. Just talking to some of the crew members, and they think they got a good shot at winning today.
Yeah, you'll recall that Ken Schrader was sent to the rear of the starting field last year because of a rules infraction. I can't remember what it was specifically, but anyway, started.
They held the carburetor on. Thought he was getting some air.
That's right. Yeah.
Around Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin got a run on him and goes around as well.
By the way, there have been a couple of crew chiefs fined this weekend. Darrell Waltrips and Joe Nemecheks will tell you about it later. Watch the action here. Oh, look at, who is that, Bodine sideways?
And Michael Waltrip made some contact in the 75. And said, what, Todd Bodine, you are definitely here on the line with about 25 drivers.
I thought there was going to be a big wreck.
Yep. We are set up for a great finish of this race. We're nearing lap 130, and we'll be back with more from Daytona in a moment. Of activity going on up front. It's Dale Earnhardt who has taken over the lead of this race with Ernie Irvin second and Jeff Gordon back in third. Here's how it happened.
Coming off turn 2, he gets just a fender alongside Jeff Gordon, moves Gordon up the racetrack. Ernie follows him, and also Schrader, and by Earnhardt and Irvin both go by Jeff Gordon.
And this is where most of the passing has been going on. We pointed out earlier in the race. So we'll pay attention as the race goes on. We'll get down near the end of this thing and see how it plays out. But the turn 2 is where most of the passing has been going on.
There are less than 28 laps to go. Gordon now is third, Ken Schrader fourth, and we ride with the 5th place competitor right now, Mark Martin. That's Greg Sachs to the inside on the left. Is running in 26th position a lap down and will not make it 4 in a row. Jimmy Spencer has given us thrills all race long, and here was another win.
Comes off the corner, he and Dick Trickle. A little bit of contact.
A couple of times, as a matter of fact.
Dick having a great run here today.
Yeah, he is.
At the top of the end.
Very happy when they announced the sponsorship on that car for at least this race and the Brickyard 400 and possibly more Skybox International trading cards.
I think it's half a dozen or so races. Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis, Charlotte, maybe it's 3 or 4, but anyway, several races Skybox came on.
Sterling Marlin trying to go alongside Michael Waltrip, making 3 abreast, but he gets by. They're back to 2 abreast. There's Elliott up on the outside. Remember, Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Tour starting 43rd, currently running 11th.
They're 3 wide coming off the corner onto the tri-oval. Sterling Marlin to the inside of Greg Sachs and Bill Elliott. Michael Waltrip making it 3 wide now through the tri-oval.
picked up. Ernie Irvin's got a couple car lengths behind Dale Earnhardt. Shredder going by, trying to go by Jeff Gordon on the outside.
I don't know whether that's a good idea or not.
He'll have good momentum when he comes off of that turn. Plus, Mark Martin's going to go with him. So Gordon gets right inside and go on the draft.
That means Jeff is going to go back to about 7th or 6th.
Laps ago, beside Greg Sachs and passed both of them down the backstretch, and he carried that momentum right up to that pack.
I tell you, Jimmy has right now and has had all the strongest cars out there. Jimmy Spencer for Junior Johnson. His best 94 finish has been a 4th at Talladega, 2 top 10s this year, including a 10th at Atlanta in super speedway competition. Less than 24 laps to go. It's still anybody's race here at the Pepsi 400. Right now, Ernie Irvin is showing the way with just a slight advantage over Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, and Jeff Gordon. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Providing ESPN's terrific helicopter shots today overhead Daytona International Speedway in the Pepsi 400. Ray Bestis brakes, the best in brakes. And the 15th race of the season is at 140 laps, but Bill Elliott is off the pace. He has been running an incredibly high line all afternoon, much like Richard Petty used to do here, and it got a little too high as he came out of the 4th corner. There you can see the top of the screen. He hit the wall a couple of times, and that slowed him down and broke the momentum of a great run from 43rd starting spot.
Yeah, he didn't hit it too hard, but he doesn't want to take any chances. That car perhaps didn't steer right after he hit that wall, and so he had backed off, but way back at the back of the pack. He's still out on the racetrack, but not running as fast. And you can understand why, because after you hit the wall, you don't know what kind of damage you did. Now you're running 185, 190 miles an hour. Chances.
They believe that something broke on the car, but they don't know right now. Ernie Irvin is the lead of the race. Let's think back 10 years ago today, guys. Remember what happened? Richard Petty won his 200th NASCAR Winston Cup race right here with the president visiting. We would like to say happy birthday to Richard Petty, who is celebrating his birthday today. Unfortunately, his car, driven by Wally Dallenbach, did not make the show.
Unfortunately, the last car to qualify was Ward Burton. He beat Wally Dallenbach, who was in the 40th position by 2/1000ths of a second.
And they didn't have any, or at least were not eligible for a provisional. So,
as we see this group of cars, we see Jeff Gordon back there, who's currently running in 9th spot. Remember, he chose not to pit, not to change tires, and it looks like it worked for him at Charlotte when he changed 2 tires and won the Coca-Cola 600. But these guys have stopped and have pressure tires right now.
Jimmy Spencer is still looking very strong, running in 4th position. With now coming up on 18 laps to go, Ernie Irvin turning the last 2.5 miles at 185 miles an hour. John Kernan, can you give us any update on Jeff Gordon?
Well, your speculation about the tires is exactly right. He has radioed in and told Ray Evernham that the car is just way too loose for him to be able to keep up with the front runners. So he's having a lot of problems out there keeping that car under.
I think we mentioned crew chief spines a little bit ago. Barry Dotson or Harry Waltrip as we watch Jeff Gordon and see if he's sawing the wheel and having problems. Doug Rickard also on Joe Nemechek's car will find $5,000 for tampering with the roof flaps that we told you about a little bit earlier. Gary Nelson told everyone in the drivers' meeting today they will enforce the safety rules, whatever it takes. There you can see that we're well off the record pace for this event with an average speed today of 152 and the race record of 173.
Tell you what, Jeff Gordon, you know, that just shows you how much intelligence he has for his years as far as driving the race car. He had a car that was not very good right now. He backs up, finds him a place to run on the racetrack, ride it out. If you get a caution flag, they'll go in, make the changes, and then he back out trying to win the race.
He started
crash race car sometimes.
Jeff Gordon started in 12th position here this morning. There are those running up front: Irvin, Earnhardt, Schrader, Spencer,
and Mark Martin, who's the 5th place car.
Yep. Spencer heads up the racetrack.
He's probably trying to see how it works up there to get ready.
Here's Jerry Punch with an update on Jeff.
As documented, Jeff has a loose race car. Now, I'm standing with Ray Evernham, and Ray said what they have told Jeff is if he will just be patient, even though we have less than 20 laps to go, as the right front air pressure builds up and he burns off some fuel, the loose race car should actually rectify itself and the car should get a little better. That's what they're hoping down here in the DuPont pits. With right front air pressure building up, the car may tighten up just a little bit with about 5 or 6 laps to go, and he might have a shot.
Well, we'll see. Meanwhile, his teammate Ken Schrader has moved to 2nd spot. That's a battle for 10th position.
That's not good.
Whoops.
Run side by side, but there, Burton really had to back off.
He got way out of shape.
He almost lost control, almost spun going down in the corner. Awesome spot for the car to get out of shape.
There is Morgan Shepherd, who almost got caught up in this wall incident that Bill Elliott had out of turn 4 a few laps ago. And now we ride with Mike Wallace in the Highland Myers machine, now on top of Morgan Shepherd. There is Wallace right behind Morgan.
You see that little spot of yellow there as it came off the turn? That's Michael Walker. There it is.
Michael Wallace is running in, I believe, 13th spot. Top 5, and they remain pretty much the same. Spencer a little bit loose coming off the 2nd corner with just now less than 14 laps to go. We'll take back for the finish of the Pepsi 400 from Daytona International Speedway. At Daytona and ESPN Speed World coverage of the Pepsi 400, and we have a crash in the backstretch. It's Sterling Marlin spinning off of turn 2 down into the grass, keeping the car on the surface.
No caution yet, and the car is moving. I don't know.
Still no caution.
Still moving.
Car is rolling back there. There might not be a caution flag with 10 laps to go.
Here comes the field. No, it does not get the caution. Jimmy Spencer takes 2nd from Ken Schrader. And so does...
And something's wrong with Schrader's car.
Earnhardt and Martin have also gone around him rather quickly. Now Jeff Bodine. I don't know. I think he just got out of the accelerator.
I think he did too. I think he expected a caution. His father perhaps told him that, hey, the car's back there, and figured there would be a caution and backed off of it. And I expect that cost him.
In any case, Marlin makes it back around to the pit area. Here's how it happened as Jeff Gordon was to his inside.
Come off the corner. Jeff Gordon just touches Sterling in the left rear and turns him around, and boy, those roof flaps do the job and keep that baby on the ground. Meanwhile, Sterling Marlin did not stop. He came down pit road and did not stop.
So now up front it is Ernie Irvin, but he has gained quite an advantage over Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, and Jeff Bodine.
Jimmy Spencer right now is in 2nd place.
We understand that the 4 car of Marlin was speeding down pit road, so he decided to go around again. Riding with Mark Martin.
And we can see just how far that Ernie Irvin is in front of this group of cars. And it looks like that Spencer and Irvin are going to make a breakaway from Earnhardt.
Earnhardt and Mark Martin are running back in 3rd and 4th, but there is quite a bit of racetrack separating those two, and Spencer and Irvin for first and second.
Now Sterling Marlin comes back down pit move. He's out there. Even a top finish.
There is Sterling as the crew go to work on the car. We rejoin the action on the racetrack to see if Jimmy Spencer can catch up with Ernie Irvan.
Martin just can't get close enough to Dale Earnhardt for these two guys to go on forward. And to answer your question, Bob, Spencer has caught Ernie Irvan.
And so are Earnhardt and Martin catching up also. Less than 8 laps to go. 21 cars on the lead lap. Elliott has been able to stay on the lead lap despite his wall contact in turn 4 that broke his momentum.
And he's about a quarter of a lap from being lap, but he's back in position with 21 cars on the lead lap.
Ernie Irvan is looking for his 13th career NASCAR Winston Cup race. Jimmy Spencer seeks his first.
Probably not anyone in the field any hungrier than Jimmy Spencer for a victory.
Yep.
Dick Trickle has got the pit stop running in the 14th position. Apparently a little low on gas, but
Ran out of fuel, man.
Seems like to me it's going to be awfully difficult to pass Ernie Irvan, but it could happen.
Well, you can bet that Jimmy Spencer will get a little Saturday night try.
You can bet on it.
Get down on the last laps.
And John Kernan has more on Jimmy Spencer, who slides up the track a little again.
Well, let me tell you guys, this morning, the only driver, the only car that Jimmy Spencer was worried about getting around was the number 3 car, Dale Earnhardt. He said Earnhardt had probably the strongest car in the field. I said, well, who's got the second? He said, well, I do, of course. So Spencer, riding behind Ernie Irvan right now, is looking for Irvan to possibly make a mistake so he can take advantage of it. But he is not being intimidated. Spencer thinks he can get around Irvan.
I don't think there is such a thing as Jimmy Spencer being intimidated. Here he comes off the corner, down through the tri-oval, completing another lap. We now have 5 to go, and Spencer is within a car length.
What do you think, Ned? Jimmy's thinking, what do I do? Is he trying to figure out what to do?
I think he's figuring right now. See, there's going that high groove there. He's going to see what kind of a run that'll give him coming off of turn 2. I don't think it's going to give him the run that he needs, but he has to try to see. I think turn 2 is where he'll try to make the move, but he didn't lose too much, but he did lose a little bit. We'll see if he'll try something else as he goes into turn 3. He's still going that high groove. He's going to try that up there. He thinks that might be the key to keep moving around here.
He thinks that he can get some rhythm as he comes off the corner, and it might work for him.
It worked up there in that turn. He picked up a couple of car lengths by doing it up in turn 4. So he's learning there right now what he needs to do.
Some slow traffic to pass here in the form of Dave Marcus and Jimmy Hensley. They clear that traffic nicely and now have clean racetrack ahead of them. Bill Elliott is the last car on the lead lap, being shown in 20th position at the moment. The other Junior Johnson car. Jimmy Spencer is looking for a way around Irvan and to victory lane here at Daytona.
I tell you what, that high line is working for him, and he is getting some great runs as he comes off the corner.
I think he is testing it all he wants to do right now, baby. He's going to sit there until there's about 2 laps to go and then try to make that move. I think he's there. Okay, that worked for me, that high line. I'll sit here and ride behind him a lap or 2 and then try to really make the move. When there's 1.5 laps to go.
Back in 3rd and 4th as you watch Spencer look to the inside of Irvan, Earnhardt, and Martin. Spencer, is he going to be able to do it? No.
Maybe he's trying another reason. See how that bottom groove will work.
That was probably his trick. get Irvin to try to protect the inside.
Look at this.
Very good point.
One of Jimmy Spencer's crew members so excited that he can't even watch the racetrack to see if his driver might be able to pull off a victory. They enter the turn 3 and 4 banking, and when they come down this time, we'll have just 2 laps remaining. Don't forget, there are Earnhardt and Martin back there in 3rd and 4th having a battle of their own that Earnhardt has control of at the moment. And then we have Schrader and Bodine back of them. So 3 groups of 2 cars. And Jerry Punch has a comment on Ernie Irvan.
Well, they just asked him a moment ago, Ernie, what do you think about the car, the 27 car? Ernie said very quickly, guys, he is awfully stout.
He is indeed. Let's see if he can make it work here. He goes to the inside.
Now he's got to go to the high side going into that turn. I think that was another decoy, as Benny pointed out there a moment ago.
You got to salute this guy because he's trying every inch of the racetrack, and for every crew, he has 1 lap to see if he can get the job done. The white comes out. Ernie Irvan leads the last lap. Let's see if Jimmy Spencer can get the job done here on the final circuit of this event. He heads up high on the racetrack once again with a lot of momentum build-up.
Yep, he's making Ernie protect that low side of the racetrack. He's going to have some momentum when he comes off this turn, Bob. He's going to have enough to move up beside him, I believe.
And he makes a move to the inside at the halfway point down the backstretch, and he gets the lead, or at least he gets an advantage on Earnhardt. They touch coming down the backstretch.
That's Ernie. Earnhardt, side by side here, they come for the checkered flag.
Will it be Ernie Irvan on top, or Jimmy Spencer on the low side, off of corner number 4? Here they come. It's going to be a drag race to the checkered flag. Jimmy Spencer wins it. Oh, baby. How about that? Jimmy Spencer becomes the 3rd first-time winner in 1994. Here's Jerry. John.
Congratulations. Thank you, John. It was a long time coming, buddy. A long time. I tell you, we never give up. We just kept that on coming. You got to credit Spencer for that because he outrun the best today.
All right, that's Mike Hill, the Woody and crew chief. These guys, you don't think they're excited. I couldn't hardly catch up with them, guys.
Great celebration and well-deserved for Jimmy Spencer, who finally gets into the win column in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. He becomes the 145th driver to record a NASCAR Winston Cup win. Jimmy Spencer from Berwick, Pennsylvania, wins the Pepsi 400 at Daytona.
Back at Daytona, the 36th annual Pepsi 400 is history, and the man is about to climb out, and listen to this roar. A big smile, 37-year-old Jimmy Spencer. And Jimmy, congratulations, my friend.
Dad, Mom, love you. Thanks. Junior, he never gave up. You know, I said I never give up on him, and I never gave up on him. I never gave up driving. Ernie Irvan drove a hell of a race. My guys never gave up, neither did I. I got to thank the McDonald's crew, all the McDonald's owner-operators, everybody that helped me in my career. Everybody. Thank you.
Jimmy, let's talk about that last couple of laps. Did you think you might be able to get Ernie, and it was close? I mean, you guys came very close to touching a couple times.
We touched good, you know. I mean, heck, we're racing to win. Ernie gave me enough room. I got to thank him for that. My car was real free on the top of the racetrack, and his car get loose on the bottom. He gave me enough room. I got a shot at him, went down the back straightaway. We touched. I come out on top. Thank you for a clean race.
Indeed, it was clean, and they are celebrating here in Victory Lane as they are about to give him a bath down here. There comes the cooler, the Pepsi cooler on the McDonald's uniform, and Jimmy Spencer is about to celebrate.
Well, he sounds like he's run a mile, but in fact, he drove a very strong 400 miles here, and this is the final lap.
They tested that outside in turns 1 and 2. And as I said, his car ran free up there, so that's where he made his move. He ran up there to where he can get those right side tires in a little bit of dry pavement. Irvin stayed down on the inside. You can see his car wiggle a little bit down there. Spencer had the momentum. Irvin goes to the outside, but Spencer had that momentum pulled down to the inside.
And now they're side by side, and it's a classic duel back to the line. There they touch. As they go in the third corner, they separate, go through the corner side by side. You can see the tire mark on Ernie's car. Spencer comes up the racetrack trying to get as close as he can to Ernie to slow him down. They come off the corner. They touch again, and now it's the race to the line. There's Irvin and then Spencer at the last second by a fence.
And that's how the Pepsi 400 came to a conclusion at Daytona, with Jimmy Spencer winning his first NASCAR Winston Cup event.
Who, by the way, surrounded by the various print media from around the country. They've allowed me to grab him away from them. So, Ernie, that last lap was something. It looked like on the tape you and Spencer must have touched about 4 or 5 times. It had to be exciting for you, too.
I wasn't counting how many times. You know, it got tight, but, you know, I mean, that's the last race of a Winston Cup race. It's not like it's anything else. So, it's an important race, the Pepsi 400. And, you know, our car was strong all day, and Jimmy come up there at the end and didn't really know how strong he was till he kept, you know, running high. And I could see he could get a good run on me, and he just made a perfect move at the end.
Now, he may have set you up a little bit. He showed you the high side with about 6 laps to go. Then with about 3, he started to go to the inside. Did you think, oh, he's going to try me on the inside and try to protect that?
I didn't really think he could go by on the inside. You know, he needed that long shot on the high side. And, you know, they had a great car today, and that's their first win. And, you know, after everything that went on at Talladega and stuff, my hat's off to Jimmy. He did a good job and led the most important lap, last lap. But this Texaco Avalon Ford definitely run good today, and did what we need to do, and that's keep running in the front.
All right, well, thank you very much. Congratulations on a second-place finish. Now let's go back down to Victory Lane, where Jerry punches with who? Junior and Junior?
Well, we have Junior Johnson and Robert Glenn Johnson Jr., the 10-month-old, who just was taken away. Unfortunately, Little Junior got the ice bath along with you and Jimmy Spencer. But congratulations, this man did a heck of a job those last few laps.
Well, he did great. I didn't know if he could ever get by Ernie. Ernie run awful good. His car was strong. All you get, you just have to catch a little draft and get there to where you can kind of mess him up when he's running a straight line. You got to get him out of a straight line to get by him, and that's what Jimmy was able to do. And so I'm tickled to death for Jimmy to win his first race and being in our car.
Junior, you've always liked an aggressive race driver. Years ago, you once told a driver, bring me back the steering wheel or the trophy, one or the other, and this man has to fit that mold.
Well, he does. You know, he's a real aggressive driver, and he charges to the front, and you got to deal with him if you're going to run up front.
He had to deal with some of the controversy at Talladega, but today they celebrate at Daytona. Jimmy Spencer is car owner Junior Johnson. Their first one ever for Spencer, guys.
And it's the first win for Junior Johnson-owned car since 1992. Back with more in a moment. Here are the unofficial final results of today's Pepsi 400 from Daytona International Speedway. Jimmy was our third first-time winner of 1994. 2 of them have come here at Daytona. Of course, Sterling Marlin was a first-time winner of the 500, and Jeff Gordon the other at Charlotte.
What a fantastic final lap between Ernie Irvin and Jimmy Spencer. Hats off to Spencer.
Well, that's the way you want to win them.
Kind of reminded me of Dale trying to get the lead from Dale Earnhardt there a couple of years ago in the 500.
Yep.
Here are the points now. Everybody stays the same, although the margin widens between Ernie Irvin and Dale Earnhardt, but everybody in the top 10, with the exception of one driver, stays the same. Lake Speed moves up 2 positions into 10th. For Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch, our congratulations to Jimmy Spencer on his first win here at Daytona. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.